Good afternoon, everybody. We are back. It's the Big Man on Campus podcast here for Tuesday, December 5th, 2017. I'm your host, the Big Man on Campus, getting you ready here for a Tuesday in college hoops. A lot to do today, which I'm excited about. We'll get into it here in just a minute. Do want to shout out to our guest today. He's back. He's going to be here with us basically all for the rest of the season. We saw him right at the beginning of the season, card kind of, with Thanksgiving, all sorts of stuff. But he's back. He goes by Babano, Ian Cameron, many different names. Ian Cameron, how you doing today?
Yeah, you can call me Babano, call me Ian Cameron. Hopefully don't call me a losing college basketball bettor. Hopefully we're going to prove that today on the show. It's good to talk college basketball. I mean, this is really where I start to sink my teeth into the college hoops card on a daily basis, big man. I mean, football's behind us. College football regular season is over. It's just the bowls left. Frees up a lot of time, to really do more digging, do more research, and get into these games, get into these teams. And this is when college basketball season heats up. We're on the precipice of conference season. Big Ten has already started the conference season already because they're moved up their conference tournament this year. So lots to talk about. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, great card tonight. Basketball's kind of got the center stage until we are in the bowls. So, yeah, for next week or so, we'll enjoy college basketball. I do want to shout out Ian Cameron. Nice little Christmas tree. He's in the Christmas spirit. Very good. Shout out all the listeners here, everyone out there. I do appreciate you checking us out today. Hit the like button. Let me know you're out there. Say hello in the chat box. And if you're on Twitter, I gladly appreciate you retweeting my show. It gets into people's hands that maybe don't necessarily know it's out there or whatever. Subscribe to my channel so you never miss a show. Over the next couple weeks, guys, unfortunately, I won't have a show every day. For instance, tomorrow I won't have a show. I'll be down at Temple, Wisconsin. Many of you know I have tickets to Temple. I won't be here next Wednesday. Villanova comes into town. So, there are some games coming up where I won't be here. So the next 2 Wednesdays, I probably won't be here, Ian Cameron. So, again, I got to go watch some live basketball from time to time here, and I got 2 big-time games coming up. So
I dumped the show for a Wisconsin Temple basketball game, too. Don't apologize for that, my friend. That's a good ticket. Enjoy it.
Exactly. I want to shout out my friend on the chat, Lucky777. Yes, we are still on tomorrow. I'm picking you up around 6 o'clock. Lucky lives in Philadelphia. He's coming to the game with me, so looking forward to that. Looking forward to watching some Temple hoops up at Leacourse Center with my friend Lucky there. Donnie, Ian Cameron. Let's get into it. I'm so used to doing shows with Donnie. It's always kind of in my head here. But before we do, welcome to all you guys out there. Save your questions for a little bit later. We're going to try to go through as many
couple people, by the way, big man, mentioning the Christmas tree here in the background. Yeah, got to show the Christmas spirit. A little happy holidays, happy holidays. You got to get into it.
And the merry bells be ringing, happy holidays. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know.
The Bing Crosby voice, yeah.
It's not Saturdays are for the boys. It's actually Saturdays are for Belmar. If you're from New Jersey, you know where Belmar is. Great hot spot on the East Coast, Ian Cameron. Maybe someday we can get you to Belmar. Let's get into the card. Last night I had a winner, 1 game, 1 winner. We'll take it. Missouri State gets the job done against North Dakota State. It was close for a half, and then they won a little run and took advantage of that game. So we'll take it. Awesome stuff. Get back on track after kind of a tough week last week. I'm 48-24 on the season, up 21.5 units. So we'll look to keep it going. I have 3 plays tonight, which we'll get to. Ian Cameron's going to have a couple. Ian, before we get into the rest of the card, I do want to give out one pick that starts at 6:30. I actually moved on it last night. So unfortunately, if you're out there and you haven't gotten on it, I'm going to answer the question now. No, I don't like it at any other number. I got it at 4.5. That's where I like it. I've mentioned before, I do bet overnight lines once in a while. And in a game like this, I'm going to bet the overnight. I beat the line movement here. Now all we got to do is win the game. This one actually goes at 6 o'clock. I'm sorry. I'm on this James Madison Dukes against the Citadel. I don't have to go into much with this game. The Citadel, as many of you know, if you listen to my show in the past, I've talked about the Citadel. they're an awful defensive team. They basically run what's called the loot and shoot offense. Duker Balcom, their coach, has basically mastered the concept where basically the goal is to go as fast as possible, try to penetrate the lane, press, try to get easy baskets, that kind of thing. And it's awful for them because defensively they're extremely worn down towards the end of games. I mean, they're giving up tons of points year after year. They're the worst defense in the country last year, and I don't imagine it's going to get much easier this year. They've given up over 90 points 5 times. They've given up over 104 times. It's actually, I'm sorry, they've given up 90 or more 6 times and given up 100 or more 4 times. This has just been a really poor defensive team, Ian Cameron, for many years. And the worst part for the Citadel is Preston Parks has left the team. Preston Parks was their best player, 13.8 points a game, 4 boards a game. He was really their leader on this very poor basketball team. So they're not talented to begin with. Parks leaves the program, and now you're really behind the 8 ball. James Madison isn't a great basketball team, but I do think they should be able to go on the road and really just beat a team that they're much better than. They could put points on the board. They should have no problem scoring in this game. If they can just get a couple stops, they should be able to win this one by double digits. Ian Cameron, do you have a chance to look at this game at all?
I'll say this, big man, you got a great number on that. I mean, talk about it paying off to get in early, because look where this number's gone since you played it. I mean, it was 4. It's what, 6.5 up to 7 now, showing up in some of those Vegas books. So you got the best of the number. That's half the battle right there. Now you just need the Dukes here to show up, get the job done, and put up a boatload of points, which they should be able to do against this Citadel team defensively. Citadel's a hard team for me to bet under the total, big man. I know their totals are always in this range. We're talking high 170s. I've even seen a 180 or 2 a couple of times with the Citadel, but they just don't play very good defense at all, hardly any. And they're a tough team to trust to keep games lower scoring. So over the total made some sense to me in this game. And if you got the good number with James Madison, makes sense.
Yeah, the issue with the Citadel every year is you would think they'd be a really good shooting team, but year after year, they have such high percentage opportunities, but they only shoot at about 41.5% per game. So, I mean, they just don't do a nice job of scoring the basketball. James Madison also, they don't turn the ball over too much. They only turn the ball over about 13 times a game, which is pretty impressive. I'd imagine if they can shoot the ball half well in this game, they should win going away. And like you said, Ian Cameron, getting the best of the number is the key. So I'll go ahead and take it and hope we get a nice, easy winner here. So, it looks like Colin jumped on it. Good stuff. I appreciate that. That's good for you. Ian Cameron, let's go through a couple games here. And throughout the show, I have 2 other picks that I'm going to add here. Do want to kind of just go down the card. And, Ian, feel free to stop me if you have an opinion. I do. How many picks do you have? Do you have any picks tonight you want to give out?
I've bet about 4 or 5 games, actually. We'll go get through them throughout the card. We'll just go quickly, rapid fire, one by one, and we'll see how.
Yeah, sounds good. We'll start up at the top. Vermont, Marquette. I like Vermont. I always think they're a live dog, especially against teams like Marquette, who aren't particularly good defensively. But Marquette's pretty decent this year, I have to say. Trey Bell-Haynes is to me not look particularly good defensively. Anthony Lamb's going to have to keep them into this game. And look, Marquette's always a team that definitely loves to shoot the 3 ball. They're not particularly good defensively. I don't have much in this game. Any call here?
Marquette's a team I think it's got some potential this year. I mean, there's some good players on that team. You talk about Sam Hauser's one of them. Rousey's another one. There's a couple on this Marquette team. They could score the basketball very well. This is going to be tough, though, against Vermont. I mean, the Catamounts have a solid squad this year that they're going to be able to challenge this Marquette team. It's a wait and see. Marquette coming off a loss against Georgia, a big man in their last game. So you would think to get a pretty focused effort from this Golden Eagles group here in this game. I think points could be scored. I mean, Marquette's a team that, they just go up and down and just try to outscore you, shoot the basketball, get quick transition looks, fire it up, and hope they can just put the ball in the basket. That's been sort of their modus operandi this season. So that could be one of those higher scoring games, maybe the over worth a look.
Yeah, no, I think you're onto something there. Big man on campus, do you have a general opinion on laying big points, 20 or more? Or is it just a game by game, very game by game basis for me? I don't really. I'll do it. I've laid 30. I've laid 50 this year, so it's really a game to game thing. But I'm sure you're asking because you want to know about Wichita State tonight, which is about that point. We'll get to that for sure. I do have an interesting point with that game. Let's move on. Virginia Military Davidson, no opinion. Gonzaga Villanova. Donnie Wright said, and I talked to us a little bit earlier on the show earlier at 10 o'clock. I like Villanova here. For me, I think they're better games on the board, but this was close to me, especially with the line going down. I think this is just a few too many, too few points for Gonzaga. If they were getting 7, 8, 9, maybe I'd be more inclined. But I mean, 4.5 is nothing in a basketball game. Villanova is really good. They have really good guard play, and I think they can match what Gonzaga does down low. Villanova is an elite team. Gonzaga is a good team. I think Gonzaga is getting way too much respect here in the MSG, in the Jimmy V Classic. Villanova is on another level to me than Gonzaga. I know Gonzaga hung with Florida, but at the end of the day, give up a ton of points in that game, did lose. And we saw last night with Florida, I mean, they're looking out to be not as impressive as we might have thought. But Villanova a pass for me here, Ian Cameron.
Oh, it's a great basketball game. Looking forward to seeing it. See, I went against Gonzaga with the Creighton Blue Jays the other night, and much like all of us, very frustrated to see Gonzaga just absolutely blow the doors off Creighton in the second half of that game. And it's funny, we talked about the injury as well in that game that Corey Kispert, very impressive player here for this Gonzaga team, who's been dealing with an ankle injury. He's been dealing with it for a while. How effective is he going to be? Is he going to play? And if he does play, is how limited is he going to be? That's been a concern for me with Gonzaga. Kind of why I like Creighton in that game. But here comes Zach Norvell in that game. Was the second half of his life in that game against Creighton was absolutely phenomenal. Just couldn't miss a shot basically from the field in the second half of that game. And sure enough, Gonzaga turns a halftime deficit against Creighton into a blowout victory. Just completely blew the Blue Jays out of the arena in the second half of that game. So it's still a very good team. It's still a Mark Few coach team. I give them respect. And I'm a little bit gun shy, I guess you could say, because of that result going against them here. But I like Villanova a lot. There's no question. But Paschal, Bridges, Booth, Brunson, the Paisani, he's in there too. Dante DiVincenzo as well for Villanova. In the good starting five, lot to like. They play defense, which is what you expect from a Jay Wright team. They can shoot the ball. They've got great inside-outside balance. Not looking to fade Villanova, but I'm also a little bit gun-shy going against Gonzaga after what happened last week. So it's a pass, but it's a great game to watch. Great game.
Yeah, the problem Gonzaga has is they give up 39% from three. That's concerning. And Villanova's been murdering opponents. Last 8 games, they've won by combined or average 24.5 points a game. So, yeah, I hear you. You're a little gun-shy. I like Gonzaga overall. Many people know I do. I enjoy Mark Few a lot. I think they're a real good basketball team. And if they can win this game, they're definitely for real. But I think comparing Creighton to Villanova is a little bit different. But let's get into the next game here. Some of these are going to be passes. This one quickly. Look, I liked it at 6.5 earlier this morning with Donnie, but at 4, I mean, you're starting to lose some value. I like Virginia. I love them on the defensive end. And if you can get West Virginia in the half court, Virginia will win this game. If they don't turn the ball over, you're basically – here's why I just take the money line here. Because if Virginia doesn't turn the ball over, they'll win. That's just how it's going to go. West Virginia is not a good half-court offense. They never are. They want to get out. They want to steal the basketball, play in transition. If Virginia doesn't turn the ball over, they will win. So for me, it's a 50-50 proposition for me. I'll take a shot. When I think on a money line that has a shot to win here, very more likely than half the time. It's just if Virginia doesn't turn the ball over, which they've only turned the ball over about 9 times a game. So I think if you're going to play Virginia, I'd take the money line.
This is a bet for me, and I got Virginia earlier today, +5. I'm on that side. That's one of the plays for me tonight. We'll make it official right now. Virginia +5 in this game. And for all the reasons you said, I mean, you talk about a West Virginia team. Press Virginia relies on turnovers and easy transition buckets and these garbage slop easy points. If you force them to make shots in the half court, we know it can be a grind for Bob Huggins' team in that kind of game and that style of game. Virginia's going to make it that style of game because what When's West Virginia score? Well, off turnovers. Well, Virginia's averaging what, 8.6 turnovers per game, top 5 in the country in fewest turnovers per game committed. That's exactly the recipe for success against West Virginia, and Virginia's got that. And Virginia's got, some guys that have been able to prove that they can score the basketball for them. Isaiah Wilkins has been very, very good. How about Kyle Guy? Remember Kyle Guy burst onto the scene last year for Virginia, and he's kept that up this year. He's been a very good offensive force for Tony Bennett and his Cavaliers team. So I think Virginia can score enough. The defensive numbers are staggeringly good once again. And when you look at the schedule with these two teams, West Virginia, okay, they beat Missouri on a neutral court, beat UCF on a neutral court. Good, some couple of nice wins there, no question about that. But they haven't been facing this kind of stiff, tough defensive team. And look what Virginia did. They've already gone on the road. They've beaten Vanderbilt on a neutral court, beat a good Rhode Island team on a neutral court by double digits, beat VCU in a true road game by 9, and covered the number in that victory. Virginia's been tested, pummeled Wisconsin at home in a game earlier this season. Virginia's had some good results already. Virginia's a tough team to blow out. So you can give me plus 5 points in what I think is an advantageous matchup here for Virginia. I'm going to take it.
Yeah, one thing that Virginia must do in this game, West Virginia is very good on the offensive glass. They always are. That's something under Bob Huggins. They are always top 10. And Diakite and Jack Salt have to rebound the basketball tonight. If they don't, it's going to be a long night. So there's two things. If they don't rebound the basketball on the defensive glass and they turn the ball over, they will lose, and they'll probably lose bad. They have to rebound the ball. I'm confident they will. I love Tony Bennett's defensive team. They're fantastic to watch. It's always fun watching them play defense, but it's also fun watching West Virginia. This should be a fun game to watch.
One last quickly thing too, Virginia, a country leading 50.8 points per game in Division I allowed for Virginia so far, and they've not faced cupcakes. They've faced some decent squads in here, Rhode Island and West Virginia, Wisconsin, VCU, and to still only be giving up a shade over 50 points per game, that's amazing, really.
I mean, you look at what they've done on defense. I mean, it's pretty unbelievable, and that's a good point by you. They held Vanderbilt to 42 points. They held Wisconsin to 37. I mean, we're not playing like, Texas, Rio Grande Valley, and Cal Bakersfield here. You're playing good basketball teams here. You're giving up 37 and 42. Give up 53 to a good Monmouth team. I mean, impressive stuff they do. They're, to me, the best team defensively I've seen as far as coach-wise. His defense is fantastic every year. Ian, I'm going to go through another play that I'm on here. I want to get this out to people, and I'm sure I'd like to hear your opinion on this. I don't know if you looked at it. I'm going to go with Grand Canyon plus 6. I can get now.
Oh, love it. Love it. I'm going to admit it right now, right here. My premium play. Don't tell Sports Memo that. My premium play, Grand Canyon, right there for free.
Good.
I totally agree. Totally agree.
I have a feeling you were using the love it thing in a way that because I'm going to. Were you trying to joke around there, or were you just saying it? You love it, love it, love it.
No, I do. Absolutely.
Okay, so
I'm not being facetious here. Yeah.
Are you aware that Marcus Lovett is out for this game for St. John's?
Yes. Big loss.
There we go. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of one of my things here. But I do want to mention, I mean, if you don't know much about Grand Canyon, I think it's important that you find out a little bit more about them. They're a for-pay university in Arizona. Dan Marley coaches them. They've really made the ascent into Division I, and the ride's been pretty impressive. I mean, they're eligible for the tournament this year. Last year, I don't like to go off last year's numbers, but when you're a team like Grand Canyon, the fact that you beat San Diego State, the fact that you held tough against Louisville, that's impressive stuff over a course of a season. And they come back this year with a really experienced basketball team, full of experience, full of high-level basketball players. The big problem I have for St. John's here, it's their first true road game, and this is arguably one of the tougher places to play in the country. This student section, the student body, this community, they're buzzing for this team. They love this team. They're excited, and there aren't many worse home court advantages to go to in the country if you're an opposing team. It's a tough place to play, and you look the fact that Marcus Levette's not playing for for St. John's, and you're worried here because Levette and Shamari Pons are really the straw that stirs St. John's. They are good in that press defense they run. They're just a good tandem, and without him, that hurts tonight. He's not even with them on this trip. And I think Casey Benson, the Oregon transfer, Josh Braun, who might be the best player in the WAC conference, I think they'll definitely be able to handle the pressure. And I'm going to be honest, I think it almost negates the press that they run because I think Shamori Pons is going to have a lot of trouble with this man-to-man defense that Marley's going to throw at St. John's. I just think this is a close game. Could they win? Yeah, I think they can. I think if you make other people beat you on St. John's, I think you're going to have a real opportunity to win this game. They're an experienced team. They're going to have a great home court advantage here. Give me Grand Canyon plus 5.5 as my second play. Ian Cameron, anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, I've been waiting my opportunity to back Grand Canyon in some form. This is a team that's not on the betting board every day, that's for sure. And you finally get that opportunity here playing St. John's. Now, I do need to point out, because it's a detail we do need to mention, this game is going to be played at the Talking Stick Resort Arena in Phoenix, the home of the Suns. This game's not going to be on campus for Grand Canyon, but it's 8 miles from campus. I mean, it's just a mere little drive to get to this building to play this basketball game tonight if you're Grand Canyon. So their student section, their fan base is going to be out in full throat here tonight facing the St. John's team. And the Marcus Levette injury is big, because it means now you can double team Shamari Pons, try to get the ball out of his hands, try to get that into someone else to try to create and facilitate and make shots. And that may not be always easy. Look, I have been a big proponent of St. John's, and Chris Mullen's doing a good job here. This program it's definitely on the upswing. I've talked about it with Big Man in a couple of past shows we've done together here this season. Definitely. I mean, they've gotten off to a great start. What are they? 8-1, 7-1 to start the season straight up. The only loss to Missouri on a neutral court. Nothing to be ashamed about if you're St. John's, no question. But the problem is, you smell that, Big Man? This smells like a rotten spot. It smells like a very rotten spot for St. John's. You've been nothing but home court and neutral court and in the East time zone for pretty much every game you've played this season. Now you got to go two time zones over to the Mountain Time Zone, to the desert, play this game against Grand Canyon. I don't know if this team still got that poise yet to be able to put their best foot forward in this kind of tricky scheduling spot, tricky travel spot. I think that's something that cannot be overlooked here for St. John's going into this game against a very veteran Grand Canyon team. Well coached. Casey Benson, what a good get that was for them too. Transfer from Oregon. He's made an impact for this Grand Canyon team and has scored the ball very well offensively. Josh Braun is a big-time force. Those two guys, Benson and Braun, they rely on. Freyer, Blumbergs, Vernon. Really a good starting five, really, for Grand Canyon. And St. John's, it's a team that's still not overly deep. And Grand Canyon, I get that feeling they're going to try to get St. John's in foul trouble, and it could go to their benefit here. But I like this play a lot. I mean, I think Grand Canyon, we saw them step up in class well, close to home last year, as Big Man mentioned, against Louisville, against San Diego State. They got up for the big games, and they gave those Power 5 foes all they could handle. I think they give the Johnnies all they can handle here tonight.
Yeah, well said. I agree totally. They're my second play, Grand Canyon plus 5.5. My other play, I bet it last night, James Madison minus 4.5. I'm going to go one more, Ian Cameron, tonight, and then we'll really go rapid fire and we'll hear some of your plays. I'm going to go up to I'm going to go over to Bowling Green, Kentucky, and I'm going to go with Bowling Green minus 2.5 against Evansville. I think this is a nice little spot for the Falcons here against a really undermanned Evansville Ace team here. I've actually watched Evansville, and there's really a problem here for both teams. There's a good problem for I guess there's not really a good problem, but there's good coming back for Bowling Green. They're getting healthy again. They're getting back some of their bodies that they really need, and really, I think, a pretty talented team in the MAC. They're well coached. You look at Evansville; they're well coached too under Marty Taylor, but they're playing without their best player, Ryan Taylor, who is really the heart and soul of their offense. The offense that they run, it's important that they have a ball handler, someone that can score. And without him, I don't think they're going to have a lot of success. And you add in the fact that it's on the road. I actually had Evansville fully healthy as the 10th best team in the Missouri Valley, which there only is 10 teams. They're well coached. but I don't like them without Ryan Taylor. He averages 21 points a game. It's a huge loss for them. And look, I mean, I think Bowling Green is a pretty solid spot here. They're at home. It's not like you're laying these points on the road. I think it's a pretty favorable number here. I'm going to go with Bowling Green -2.5 as my third and final play tonight. 3 plays, Bowling Green -2.5, James Madison -4.5, and Grand Canyon +5.5. Ian Cameron, any thoughts on the Bowling Green pick?
Yeah, it makes sense to me. I didn't get involved, but I'd lean that in that direction. I'm a little shy of Bowling Green because I remember taking them laying, I think, 10.5 against San Jose State at home. San Jose State's dreadful, and Bowling Green looked like they were going to completely wax that team. They were up by 20, as much as 20 in that game, and they let San Jose State come back through the back door the last 10 minutes of the second half. San Jose State got the point spread cover in that game, came back against Bowling Green a little bit, but you're not laying 10.5 here. You're laying a reasonable number here, 2.5 here. You mentioned it. Evansville's leading scorer out. That's a big deal. That's a big loss for them, no question. Where's the offense going to come from? Who's going to step up, provide that secondary offense, secondary scoring, you could say, for the Purple Aces, for Marty Simmons' team tonight? That's going to be a concern for them here in this game. Bowling Green's a capable team. They're pretty good, solid for MAC standards. Again, I don't love the MAC conference in hoops this year as much. I've talked about that before. I think they lost a lot of big-time players across the board on a lot of these teams, especially the upper-tier teams like the Ohios, the Akrons, the Buffaloes. The Buffaloes really started to come on a little bit. But the MAC overall I don't love, but in this spot, Evansville is probably in a little bit of tough waters on the road without their top scorer.
Yeah, and that's why I'm decently high on Bowling Green this year. They do bring back, plenty of players from last year. Dylan Fry, DiMaggio Wiggins, Justin Turner. They get back, some Turner tonight, which is big. So I definitely think they have the ability. They could score the basketball. Really shouldn't have any problem against Evansville. Evansville really lacks any punch right now on offense. So I'll go with that as my final play here. A lot of questions here on the chat about Central Michigan and Montana State. I think what we need to remember here in this game is Central Michigan last year is nowhere near what they are this year. They're actually a lot better team this year overall. You look at last year, basically their offense was Braylon Rayson and Marcus Keene just isolating and trying to score off the dribble. They're not that this year. They're a little bit more complete. They're assisting. They're doing, things like that as far as getting the whole team involved. They're playing defensively a lot better. But I like Fry, Harold Fry, and Tyler Hall. I like them a lot. This should be a fun game, but I don't see much edge here. I like both these teams. This is probably out of every game on the board, a game I just have no opinion on. I could see it going either way. And frankly, I would probably go with the Chippewas just because they're at home and in a better spot here. It's going to be a tough ask to guard Tyler Hall. He's a great player, but I just don't really see much to make me want to bet on this game. So I see a lot of people talking about it, but I don't have any opinion. Where else are we going to go here? Again, guys, I don't know how many times I have to say this on this show. I will repeat the picks at the end. Okay. Settle down. I got a lot of people on here, and it's all I see is, what was his picks? What did he give out? I'll give them out, guys. Settle down.
Recap at the end of the show. Same with me. At the end of the show, you'll hear what I'm on. Same thing.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't do like a little scroll thing. I mean, that would be so sweet if I could do that. Yeah. Maybe I should just get Michael behind me and Biggie. Maybe I'll put little posters up next to their mouth, and they can give the plays out. Yeah, settle down, Stephen Guevara. I'm not telling them to shut the hell up, but again,
settle down, entire chat room. Yeah.
Let's move on here. Interesting game, South Dakota State and Wichita State. This is an interesting game because I want to look at what Missouri State did to Mike Daum over the weekend. And there's a reason I'm saying all this. So Missouri State, I really like out of Missouri Valley. They have Alize Johnson. They're a good team. They held Mike Daum over the weekend to 7 points. Really made it difficult for the big kid from South Dakota State. And you look at Wichita State, Paul Lusk took that defense from Wichita State and basically mirrored the same defense. So again, this game against Wichita, it's hard to envision, frankly, that Mike Daum doesn't have much different of a game than the game that he had Saturday. You don't see much where he is, got two poor games, and he might have a decent game, but I don't think he's going to drop 30 in this one. And I mean, you look at Wichita State, Ian, and their just unbelievable run laying points at home. I mean, over the last 7 games, as a home favorite of 18.5 to 24 points. They're 7-0 against the spread. They've covered 17 of 21 as a home favorite of 12.5 or more, and they're 19-7 over the last 3 years at home against the spread. So, I mean, this home atmosphere is dominating for them. And now you're telling me your best player coming in is probably going to struggle against this defensive situation. I can't really be much interested. I would lean Wichita here. I'm not looking to bet against them at home.
Yeah, I mean, I would lean that. I would. It's a tough game. It's a lot of points. It's always paying a premium, big man, with Wichita State. They're laying, 18.5, 19. Total sitting at 151. Maybe take a shot under the total just because, if they shut down Daum, and where's South Dakota State? Where are the Jackrabbits going to turn to at that point? I know they had a thrilling game against Ole Miss. Tremendous performance in that game from South Dakota State. On the road, no less. Take nothing away from them. Great performance, but
Ole Miss is going to run with them. That's the thing.
But exactly, it's on the road in that. But yeah, Ole Miss doesn't play like a defense compared to what Wichita State does. Wichita State's holding foes to 36% shooting so far this season. That tells you all you need to know about how well they're playing on the defensive end of the basketball court. That's what Greg Marshall's teams do. They're starting to round into form a little bit too. Wichita State. It's just a little bit of a concerning matchup for me. It's a lot of points to lay with Wichita, but this is not a dog I'm overly interested in.
Ian is my boy, but why the hell is he in a college basketball video? Because he's a college basketball capper, and he's one of my favorite people. That's why. BMOC hates Nova basketball. Exactly, Tony. Thank you. Michael Coleman, you ask me about Nova every week, and I tell you I hate them, and yet you always ask me if I'm pumped for their game tonight. No, I'm not. I hate Villanova. I can't fucking stand them. And yeah, I can't wait for Temple to wax that fucking ass next Wednesday when they come up to the Leacorp Center. We're shocking the world, baby. You better believe it. You should get a colored ticker like in a hoagie shop to run your plays behind you. That's a good idea, DP, actually. I have to talk to some boys down in South Philly to see if I get one of those. Good call. I'll be down there tomorrow. Maybe I'll have to ask one of my boys, my boy Mike at Steak 'em Up, 11th and Chunk, best food in the city, 11th and Chunk, Steak 'em Up. Go there if you're ever in South Philly. So there you go. I get a free ad. I give a free ad for you, Ian Cameron. Free ad for Steak 'em Up, 11th and Chunk.
I like it. And speaking of things I like, I'm going to go to one play I'm on here.
Let's do it.
I'm going to go to MSG. I'm going to go to, I believe it's the Jimmy V Classic tonight, one of these games. We've got UConn and the Cuse taking on each other on here. Yeah, I'm involved here.
I was last night when I was looking at this card, Ian Cameron. I did a lot of research on this game. I'm interested to hear your pick here.
I'm on Syracuse in a bounce back spot, laying 6. I mean, I laid 5. Even at 6, I think it's okay. To me, Syracuse has impressed me. And to me, you don't get penalized for a 76-60 loss against Kansas. Kansas is a great basketball team. They're elite. They're a national championship contender. They're going to be deep into March. Nothing wrong with that situation at all. Syracuse, we know Jim Boeheim's team in the past, has been very successful at Madison Square Garden. So is UConn, to be honest. But I think the thing here is Syracuse, to me, has got that defensive aptitude, which is big time. They've been very good on the defensive end of the basketball court, 62 points per game, 37.6% shooting allowed so far this season. UConn, not so much. I think there's some holes defensively for this UConn team. They've been a little bit inconsistent. And you look at the spot here for UConn, they're off back-to-back overtime games against Columbia and Monmouth. And from a point spread perspective, they barely escaped those 2 games, and those were at home. On the home campus in those 2 overtime wins. They're 0-4 against the spread coming into this game, and their last 4 games have been a little bit of an overvalued commodity. I like the idea of Syracuse, that first loss of the season, albeit against a very good Kansas team, having that focus to come right back tonight with their best effort. And I think their best effort would be too much for UConn to handle. I've got to see something from UConn against a better a brand of competition for me to believe in them a little bit. We've seen them have some ugly results. I know they had an Oregon win on a neutral court that was pretty good, but they also got blown out by 20 against Michigan State, blown out by 35 points against Arkansas. So they've also had some real ugly results, UConn, and I like the spot and the situation, how it sets up here for Syracuse. So I'm going to go the Cuse -6 tonight.
Here's my one concern with Syracuse tonight, Ian Cameron. But I really like Syracuse. I want to make that clear. I love them defensively. I think they're really long this year. This might be one of the better defensive teams he has. Here's my concern. They're playing well. Why did Geno Thorpe leave the team? Can you explain that to me? That's concerning to me. I mean, he was one of their better offensive players. Comes over from Penn State, leaves the team. Why did he leave the team? Then they go out and get spanked by Kansas. I think they're much better than UConn, frankly, but that's a concern.
That's where we'll find out tonight if there's a lingering effect to that. How does it disrupt camaraderie in the dressing room, the locker room? Who knows? We're going to find out tonight. If Syracuse throws up another clunker tonight, then there's going to be reason to concern, and you got to sit back and say, "Whoa, what's going on here?" All of a sudden, maybe this is a big deal. Tonight's going to be proven that one way or another. It depends on what we get out of Cuse tonight.
Yeah, totally agree with you. But they are the way better team than me, frankly. So I would agree with that. James Madison's is at 7 now. Wow, big man. Yeah, Ian Cameron mentioned that. How about that, Ian Cameron? How about that for spiking lines off the board? How about that? CLV, baby. Where are we going here? I did want to address this. Do you use tracking software for your bets? If so, which one? No, I use a thing called YouTube, and it tracks all my bets for me, and I can't argue them because they're here. But no, there's a couple of good ones out there. Most of them you have to pay for. The good ones like Handicapper Watchdog you have to pay for, which I have in football for my premium plays. Geno Thorpe has always had issues. Yeah, well, I want to know why he left, because he seemed to be getting on pretty well at Syracuse, but I guess we'll find that out soon. Let's go through some more games here. This North Dakota Creighton game is pretty interesting. This should be what I think should be if you like totals, this might be a good overplay here. North Dakota and Creighton, 753, 754. Creighton, as we know, score in bunches. North Dakota is the same way. I don't think they can guard Creighton, and I don't think Creighton can guard them. Kyrie Thomas should have a big game. Marlon Hunter should have a big game for the Fighting Sioux here. Over might be where to look here. Texas and
VCU.
VCU's a good
the
one.
Shaka Smart Bowl, yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that one earlier on the show. This is a tough spot for Texas. Young team, true road game here in VCU. Shaka coming back. It's a tough one because can Matt Coleman handle VCU's defense? But I will say this, I don't think they're as good as defensively as they were with Shaka there or with Will Wade there for that matter. I think VCU is good down low. Mohamed Bamba's been decent. I think he needs to be a little bit more, fierce. The problem with Bamba is he's very, very skinny. He's very frail to me. And he's going to have trouble all year, I think, with bigger guys. What would Shemek Karnowski have done with Mohamed Bamba? I mean, honestly, down low. I mean, he would have chewed him up and spit him out. I mean, he's too skinny, but he's really good defensively nonetheless. He can get out and guard you at the perimeter, and he'll get better and better as the season goes on. This is a tough game, though. Like, lean VCU, frankly, but the numbers going down, and Texas is really good on the defensive end. It's a pass for me. Ian, do you have anything there?
Yeah. It's a very good game to watch. Of course, Shaka Smart returning to face his former team. Not that gives Texas any incentive, but I'm not stepping in front of extra incentive, I should say. But I'm not stepping in front of Texas. Not even maybe here. I've liked this team from the get-go. I'm looking to back this team, not buck them. VCU at home against Virginia, lose that game straight up and against the spread by 9. Not a great performance by them. I think they could be in tough here against this Texas team. And big man, you mentioned him. Everyone's talking about him. Mo Bamba. Dun, 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 dun. Mo Bamba. He's a great freshman for the Texas Longhorns. He is, and he's going to be, I think, a pretty good player for this team, no question, going forward. And Texas, don't forget, against Duke, had that team dead to rights for upwards of the 40 minutes in that game. Duke, as they've done a few times, let's not forget the Indiana game just recently, comes back late, force overtime, win the game in overtime. Nothing to hang your head about for Texas. But they could have beaten Duke. They were right there with them. That is a very good basketball team, and I'm not convinced VCU is as good as they've been the last couple seasons under Smart years ago and under Will Wade recently, who's now at LSU. I think VCU might be down a slight notch this year, and that could be trouble for them tonight.
Here's, though, the concern. If you're Texas at this number, okay, here's why I don't want to back Texas. 62% from the foul line. Just can't do it. I'm never going to back a team laying 5, 6, 7 points, shooting 62%. Just not going to do it. Because if you don't make free throws, you're not covering. Just how it goes. And again, I mean, I think this is a closer game. I don't think this is a 20-point game with 3 minutes to go. I think it's within 10. So for me, there's a lot of wiggle room there. If you're VCU, you can stand this game, by playing some defense, and it's a full 7 now. I mean, that's tough, especially in an atmosphere like this. You don't make free throws. This team can rebound with you a little bit. Seems like too many points for me. I know VCU is not that good. They're not this old school VCU team, but if they can stay in the game with a 3-pointer once in a while, and down low, Justin Tillman can do some things against Mo Bamba, I think they could stay in this game, honestly. Let's keep it moving.
Yeah, I'm not
here.
laying it with Texas there. I love Texas a lot, but not tonight. I mean, that's just not the right price range for them tonight to trust them for me.
I have a rule. If you don't shoot like 68% or better, and that's even low, I want 70% or better. And I want the people at the end of the game that are going to make free throws, with the people with the ball in their hand, can they make free throws? That's the big thing. It's not always, percentages can be kind of tough, because you could have a team shooting 65%, but the two ball handlers that have the ball in their hand shoot 82%. And that's one thing about Syracuse I don't like. Gino Thorpe was their best foul shooter. So late in games, to cover, they're going to have to make free throws. But I think they'll be fine. They have plenty of length. Hopefully they can get the job done for you there. Ian Cameron, hit us with your next play.
Next play, this will probably be the last one, but let's see if we can get points here in this game. We're going to look at the Nevada-Texas Tech game over 148.5. I think that's going to be a game that's going to see some fireworks to it tonight between those two squads. You look at what Texas Tech is averaging this season in terms of offense, 82 points per game, 50% shooting, 50% shooting, 85 points per game at home. And you look at Nevada, they're averaging over 80 points per game as well. I think we're going to see offense. You got two very potent scoring basketball teams, Jordan Caroline, Kendall Stevens, Cody Martin, Caleb Martin, Lindsey Drew, lots of options for Nevada. Same thing for the Texas Tech team. Keenan Evans, absolutely fantastic scorer for that Red Raiders team. You got two teams that are very well coached, in these with two teams that I think are also on the incline, on the upswing here in their respective conferences. Nevada, Texas Tech, both have been very, very efficient at the offensive end. And I think both teams, they hit free throws for the most part. You like these two teams sitting in the mid-70s in terms of free throw percentage so far this season. I like both teams in terms of their offensive game right now. They're both putting up points on a routine basis, and I think the side's tough. I like Nevada a lot, and I like Texas Tech a lot. I mean, these are two teams I'd rather be betting on than betting against, so I'm going to stay away from the side, but I like the scoring options for both of these teams. I think we get a fun back and forth game. I think it's going to be a close game as well. What's that mean? Well, it means you could get some late scramble points. If there's fouling late, it's going to help our cause if it's a close game, and I think it's got a chance to be. So I think I like both teams offensively here in this game. So I'm going to go ahead, Nevada, Texas Tech to go over 148.5 tonight. I like that total a lot. It's really the one total that stuck out to me tonight.
And both these teams shoot the ball well, too, from three. 43%, 37%. Not great for Texas Tech, but they can hit a three. Both shoot it at 74 and 76. This is what you want, foul shooting-wise. 74%, 76%. Both these teams foul a good amount. So, yeah, I think you have a good one here. Do not bet against Nevada. Why? Why not? I mean, are they unbeatable? Or maybe give us your reasons.
It could be a bounce back spot for Texas Tech. I know it was a ugly showing, a recent game for them, but they're at home against Nevada. Nevada again, still. Okay, what can you do for me on the road here, Nevada, in this game? I know an 8-0 start, but look, the road games so far. I mean, Santa Clara, Pacific, Hawaii, UC Irvine, that's not Texas Tech. I mean, this is going to be a good, tougher test for Nevada, but I like Nevada a lot. All right. And certainly catching 5.5. I'm not inclined to bet against them. Eric Musselman has done a tremendous job, coach of that team now in his second year. What a turnaround they had last year. I think they might be just as good, if not a little even better this year.
Do you model college basketball or just wager based on analysis? No, I don't model. I don't even know what that means. What does that even mean, Ink? Do you know what that means, Ian Cameron? I don't. Model what? What am I modeling?
I don't model anything. I break down the matchups. That's what I do. I just look offense, defense. I look free throw shooting's a big part of it. I look at the spot scheduling perspective. That's part of why I like Grand Canyon tonight. St. John's hasn't been outside of the East time zone until tonight for the first time. So all of those elements combined for me.
That was a question from the chat. No, I really look at schematics and how the team plays against the other team as far as the offensive, basically, what defense they run, what offense they run, that kind of stuff. A lot of stuff. But no, I don't know what you mean there by model. No, I don't have models.
And also roles, teams that are good in a favorite role, teams that are bad in a favorite role, teams that are good in an underdog role, teams that are bad in an underdog role. I really pay attention to those kind of things as well.
Yeah, and as far as like analytics, I don't really look at that. I mean, there are some things that are impressive, but like I don't have Ken Palm. I've never used it. I don't pay for it. Never used it. For me, it's just about watching the games and getting the information myself. Let's look towards wrapping it up. Ian Cameron here. We'll recap our picks and throw out what we're on tonight. Me, I'm on James Madison -4.5. Got that one early. I'm on Bowling Green -2.5 against the Evansville Aces, and I'm on Grand Canyon +5.5 against St. John's. Ian, why don't you let everyone know what you're on tonight?
Yeah, actually, one more that I'm going to get to quickly. I'm taking Winthrop plus the double digits against Georgia. I mean, I don't like the spot here for Georgia. They're coming off a nice win against Marquette in their last game on Saturday, and they've got a real interesting schedule coming up. Could be a little bit of a flat spot for them. Winthrop's capable enough basketball team, and I'm not sure Georgia yet is that lay 12 with them. Mark Fox has done a good job for this program, but I don't know if Georgia is still at that level this year, maybe that they've been in years past, and I don't love the situation for them going into that game tonight. So that's also a play for me. I'm going to go with the Winthrop Eagles there, +12 against the Georgia Bulldogs. So that's it for me. Now we'll recap them. We're on Winthrop, as we just mentioned, +12 against Georgia. I'm on Virginia +5 against West Virginia. I'm on Syracuse -5, although it's now -6 against UConn. I'm on Grand Canyon +6 against St. John's, which Big Man and I, that's a consensus of ours. And I'm also on Nevada, Texas Tech over 148.5 tonight. That's a wrap. That's my betting card, I guess you could say, tonight in college hoops.
Yeah, that Winthrop game is interesting. I really like Pat Kelsey. I think he's one of the better mid-major coaches in the country. I'm a big Cooks fan, Xavier Cooks, down at Winthrop. They held with Colorado State a little bit earlier this year. That is a lot of points for Georgia. They're a team that I think is still, like you said, kind of trying to find their way. Who's the guy? Is it it's always going to be what's his name? The big kid. Jade. What's the big kid's name? Why am I drawing a blank here on the name for Georgia?
I'm drawing a blank too. Hold on, just
why
10
am I
million teams, 10 million players. You're right.
I'm usually so good with names. Why am I drawing a Yante Maton? Fuck. I don't know why I drew a blank there. I kept seeing JJ Frazier in my mind, but Yante Maton, great player there. But other than him, do they have someone that can step up? I don't know. Winthrop's always a good mid-major team. Could be a team where they kind of put the scare in them a little bit here with Winthrop. Let's wrap it up with a couple questions here in the chat. Where are we at here? Thanks, Chris. Enjoy your commentary. Always Chris Lomas, Football Observer. Thanks for listening in.
Oh, you asked about SMU TCU. Great game. That's a great game. Yeah. Great win, too, for SMU on the weekend against USC. Really good. And that was a revenge situation, too, from the tournament last year. SMU played like it. I like both teams. I mean, I like what Jankovic has done with SMU. Great team. The great season last year. They're going to be good again this year, but I like Jamie Dixon's TCU squad a lot too. So these are two teams I'd rather, again, bet on than bet against. Looking forward to watching it, but I'm out of it from a betting perspective.
Yeah, I actually like I like TCU a lot. It's just kind of a battle of Texas, first road game for SMU. SMU is always really good at home, but question mark for them is always going to be on the road. So that's a tough game. Definitely one to sit and watch and see how it goes. Arizona, people are asking about that one. I don't. I'm going to see more about Arizona until I get involved with them. They're off a nice win. They had to come back in that game. They're just not very good defensively right now for me, and I gotta wait a little bit for Arizona. They're very good, but I need to see Raleigh Alkins come back, be healthy and play well. Texas A&M's a good team. That should be a battle down in Tucson tonight. Should be a great game. Where else we at here? Nice comment here from Colt McCullough. Appreciate that, man. Thanks for listening. Thanks, Marquise. Have a great night. Which Barstool shirt is that? I said Saturdays are for Belmar. Creighton, we already talked about, like the over, but it's just a lean. And that's about it. Thanks as always for everyone listening. We had a lot of people here today. Always appreciate you tuning in. For me, again, Grand Canyon plus 5.5, Bowling Green minus 2.5, James Madison minus 4.5. And again, for all the fuckheads out there, that was before. That was last night. So people call me out for a shit line. That was before the day even got started here. I'm not on tomorrow, guys. No show tomorrow. I'll recap that tomorrow. I'm going to the Temple, Wisconsin game, so I won't be on here. Ian Cameron.
I'll be back next Tuesday then, in that case.
Sounds good.
Tuesday I'll be back, and then we'll hopefully get into our rotation. Because Thursday, Friday, I looked at the schedule. I talked to Jeff about this already. Very light schedule for college basketball, Thursday and Friday this week. So I'll be back here next Tuesday, 5 p.m. Eastern. Looking forward to it. This is a lot of fun. Always looking forward to joining the big man.
Yeah, always enjoyable chat with you, Ian Cameron. And as always, thanks for. Do you smoke weed, Big Man Cameron? No, I never have. Never even tried it. No, I don't smoke anything. Never have tried smoking. The only thing that I've done that's bad is I drank lean twice. That was like a couple years ago. And I have drank, but I don't drink anymore. And I have never smoked anything ever and never will. So no,
I'm in the same boat. Not even a cigarette. Not even a puff on a cigarette for me ever. Yeah. Ever. Yep.
How about that?
Yeah, 50% of my friends are weed heads. So there you go.
Yeah, everybody does. But yeah, for me, I don't know. I don't like smoke. I don't want smoke all around. So I don't mind you doing it. I'd rather people smoke weed though. Cigarette smoke's just kind of disgusting to me. But other than that, we're going to wrap it up here. Everyone have a great night, and we'll be on tomorrow, Ian and I, on SBR on the roundtable at 10 o'clock a.m. Make sure you join us for that. As always, that's a fun show. Everyone have a great night. Thanks, Ian, for joining me, man.
Absolutely. Have a good night, everyone, and good luck.
See ya.